Okay, let's get going. Welcome everybody to the Irish Laser Association's pre-season training webinar. Thank you for joining us this evening again. I'm Ross, I'm the Leinster rep for the Irish Laser Association, and this is our third session, and probably will be our most demanding session as well. I'm delighted to introduce Aisling Keller, who has sailed lasers at the highest level on the international circuit, and she's generously agreed this evening to give us some of her insights to laser fitness and what it takes to sail a laser at the very top level, and also how to improve your laser sailing through your fitness. So Aisling has been sailing lasers for over 10 years. She's from Lough Yacht Club, so she did a lot of sailing down in Dromideer. So Aisling, over to you.
Thanks, Ross, and thanks to all the ILA guys for organising this all. So as Ross said, I'm a laser sailor for a few years now, and on top of that, I am studying physiotherapy. I also am a qualified fitness instructor and personal trainer. So I'm not just speaking from experience of sailing for the last few years, but I know the physiology behind it. I've studied it a little bit as well. So it's not all just from training myself and stuff like that. So let's get started. So what are the best doing? So I've competed internationally for a few years now, and I've seen like the different programs. We've trained with different teams and all the different nationalities, and everybody actually has different programs. So comparing us, like the Irish team, to this is Marit here in the picture. She's on the rower there. So it really depends what type of program you're doing. Like it depends on your own physiology and your body shape and your body type and what your goals are. So, but every successful fitness program has a cardio aspect, it has a strength aspect, and it has a sports specific aspect. So cardio would be endurance, that's aerobic, and aerobic just means you have enough oxygen for your muscles to work. Anaerobic means you don't have the oxygen. Alactic, that's just like short stints, and anaerobic lactic is when you're working without oxygen for more than say 10 seconds. Strength is just in the gym, getting stronger and injury prevention, and sports specific is hiking and stuff like that. So we're going to go into each of these in a bit more detail. So first we have cardio, which is cardiovascular fitness. And it's essentially the ability of your heart to keep up with your body's oxygen needs. So when you're, even all of us sitting down here now watching the screen and whatnot, your body needs oxygen all the time to just keep up with all its needs, like digesting, pumping blood around your body, everything like this. So that's why you breathe in oxygen and then your heart pumps it around your body. So essentially when you're doing cardio, whether it be running, cycling, rowing, this is to make that system more efficient. It might mean like in extreme scenarios, like really, really fit people, their heart actually grows a little bit bigger. So they pump more blood around their body with each kind of heart pump. It's split into aerobic and anaerobic. As I said, aerobic, you have oxygen, and anaerobic, you don't have oxygen. So when you're working anaerobically, this is when lactic acid occurs. And we all know this feeling. That is that feeling when your legs feel dead. You know, when you're hiking, you get that burning in your legs. I know it well. I'm sure most people listening here know it well as well. It's not a nice feeling, but you have to go through that to get fitter. So that's that's that. We're going to dive into here. So within cardio, you have endurance, anaerobic, and alactic and lactic, as I said. So endurance in sailing, in laser sailing, plays a massive role. So, you know, the races are at least 50 minutes long. You have 2 races a day at big championships, at Irish regionals and stuff. You have 3 races a day. So you're on the water for like, you know, minimum 5 hours on a racing day. And Laser World Championships is 6 days long. So endurance plays a massive role in laser sailing. Endurance is not only when you're actually competing, but it's to do with how you recover day to day as well. So if you say day one of competition is 20 knots and you're out there for 5 hours, how you recover that night going into the next day, that's endurance as well. So it's training your body to recover as well as compete. And so how do you improve it? It's called long, steady duration. That's the type of training. I used to call it long, slow death, because it's usually 90 plus minutes at a steady lowish heart rate, which can be very, very boring when you're, especially when you're doing a few of them a week, or you want to do it at least once a week. Among the pros, like the best sailors in the international circuit now, especially, cycling's kind of taken off, and it's become a bit of a fashion, I guess, as well. But cycling is definitely the most popular. People, like a lot of sailors, are doing at least 1 long cycle a week. Like 90 minutes would kind of be minimum, but when you're working off a low heart rate, like 130 to 140 BPM, that's just beats per minute. You can go for a long time. It also obviously depends on your fitness level at the moment, but that's just how you improve your endurance. It's long, steady duration at a lowish heart rate. So 130 to 140 isn't like, that's not going to be the same for everyone. That's just what it was for me. But say if you were extremely fit and had a very low resting heart rate, then it might be a bit lower. Or say any of the younger guys, if you're like around 15, 16, it might be a bit higher. So the way you find out this is kind of fitness testing and stuff, which a lot of people don't have access to, but it's kind of conversational pace. You don't have to keep an eye on your heart rate the whole time. It's just like if you're running, you will be able to hold a conversation the whole time. It's the same with cycling. So the thing is, with building endurance, cycling is low impact. Like running for 90 minutes, kind of hard on the joints. So cycling is good that way, that it's low impact. But like I say here, do what you enjoy. So because you have to go out and do it for a long time and it's kind of boring. Well, it can be boring if you're going out with friends and whatever. You can make it like more enjoyable and more fun, but do what you enjoy. Like if you don't like cycling, then don't do cycling. It's hard enough to get on the bike without like not liking it. So you can run, you can swim, you can be on the rower. It's up to you. Like you can go stand up paddleboarding, like whatever gets you out there. It's not really like cycling is the best one. There is evidence to say that cycling is kind of more similar to, it uses more similar muscles to sailing, like when you're hiking, like your quads, which is just the muscle at the front of your legs. So that's endurance. So let's go on to another type of cardio training. This is VO2 max training. So this is like your interval training. So because with sailing, it's a mix of everything. Like when you're coming off the line and it's 20 knots, you're obviously not going to be at a low heart rate if you're working really hard. So you need to train those higher heart rates as well. This is just a picture of a Garmin. Some of you who use a Garmin might pop up every now and again. If you've gone for a really hard run, it'll give you a new VO2 max. And what that means is it's the maximum rate of oxygen consumption. So the more oxygen you can take in when you're exercising, the better, because it means that you won't produce that lactic acid, so that dead kind of sore feeling in your legs and your arms, whatever, you won't produce that feeling as soon as somebody else who doesn't have VO2 max as big as you. So this is training at 85 to 95% of your max heart rate. So I know I'm talking about heart rate a lot, but it is really the best way of it's the best way of going about your training. It's quite accurate. If you're going to be like taking your training seriously, I would recommend getting a Garmin or a Polar, or there's even this Wahoo heart rate strap. They're really good like indicator of how hard you're training, and it even is good to monitor like recovery if it tells you your resting heart rate and stuff like that. So the only thing I would say with the Garmin would be after a few weeks, the wrist heart rate isn't very accurate. It's the same with most watches. So I would recommend just getting a chest strap with that. But if you're sailing, try not just wash the chest strap after you're sailing so that salt doesn't corrode it. But anyways, back to this. Your max heart rate is roughly 220 minus your age. So if you're 18, 220 minus 18 is 202. That's your max heart rate. That obviously, give or take a few beats per minute. So you would use this in intervals. As I said, you can use this for the on phase. So an example would be 30 seconds on, 60 seconds off. And your off could be easy cycling or slow jogging / walking. If you're on the rower, it would just be really slow, easy rowing. And the session of like everything I'm talking about here is kind of general stuff because everybody's fitness level is different. Everybody has different physiology. Everybody's body is different. So you have to remember, like, you know your body more than anybody else. So you know what suits it. And if you don't know and you're listening to this and you're saying, oh my God, I don't actually know what my body is used to, what it's not, don't worry, that's fine. That comes with just training more and seeing, okay, this didn't agree with me and this did. And you just learn as you go on. So yeah, 30 seconds on, 60 seconds off. That would be, say you could do a set of 6. Say if you're cycling, for example, you could do a set of 6 and then take 10 minutes of easy cycling, like that endurance, like conversational pace, and then you could do another set. So if you're starting off on your fitness journey, I would recommend just doing starting off, like if you're running, then you would start doing walk, run, and you don't need to do like super high intensity. But if you are more comfortable and you've been doing any running or cycling for a while, then this would definitely be a good session to do. But again, it depends on the athlete. So week to week for your cardio, you should aim to complete one LSD session, which is your endurance session. So again, if you're a beginner, this could be 40 minutes. 90 minutes is like the minimum for somebody more experienced, but this could be 40 minutes of walk running or 40 minutes on the bike, just like conversational pace, just like a coffee spin, go with your friend, go 40 minutes. And then at the end, like grab something to eat, and it's kind of like a social thing as well. That's the nice thing with LSD sessions. You can make them kind of like scenic and grab a coffee in the middle and a snack. So they're not all bad. An interval session. So there's a lot of different interval type sessions that you can do, but an example would be 10 seconds on at max effort. So this would be like training your power, and it would be that anaerobic alactic that I was talking about at the start. And that's like for your power, like straight off the line, you have to go as hard as you can for, you know, that like minute off the line, or else you're going to get rolled or leap out. And it's really crucial time, especially say if you're wanting to go to the left and you start at the pin. If you get rolled, you can't go to the left and you have to go to the right and duck the boats and everything. And it's just, if you can do a few of these sessions to make your bow stick out at the end of the start, then it's totally worth it. So you could do this 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off, with your max effort. You could do 10 of them, and then 10 minutes easy, moderate, that conversational pace, and then do it again. So again, you know yourself, what you're going to be used to, what you're going to be able to do. You don't want to burn out or anything like that. And you could do another session, which depending on the week. So obviously every single week you can't have a really high load, and by high load, I just mean you can't have like, you know, like 20 hours of training and like all them interval sessions and stuff like that. So another week, it could be another LSD session. That could just be an hour of active recovery. So literally just spinning your legs. Or it might be another interval session, and the intervals might be a little bit longer, but not max effort. They could be like, say like, they could be like 7 or 8 out of 10 effort, that kind of style, but it could be like on for like 5 minutes and then off for 1 minute and back on for 5 minutes. So it might sound to you that it's a little bit vague, but it does depend on the person and depends on the week and everything like that. So all the athletes at high level have somebody to do their fitness program. So they would look at a block of 8 weeks and say, okay, for the first 4 weeks, we're going to build up, and it's going to get harder and harder, and they're going to get more tired and more tired. And you basically push them until they're like very like tired and they're kind of on the edge nearly of getting sick, but then you give them an easy week and then you start building up again. That would be kind of like how you would work an off-season kind of program. And then we'll talk about how you should kind of tailor your fitness for coming up to competitions and stuff like that. So now we're just going to talk about muscular fitness, which is basically just the gym. And with laser sailing, gym work is actually more about injury prevention rather than being able to lift really heavy things. So if you can, say, do a really good heavy deadlift, it's not actually that useful for sailing lasers. As you know, it's like that endurance-y kind of sport. So it's like, if like for me, when I was sailing, I loved the gym. When I was competing, I loved the gym, and that was my favorite part. But unfortunately for me, it wasn't like the most important thing to be good at. But it is really important for injury prevention, especially. You have to be strong, and you have to be strong in your core and your legs and your bum pretty much, and your abs, especially to be to not get injured, because as I say here, the back injury is really, really common in sailing lasers. And I think it's actually because people go into whichever, say people go into radial because they're the right weight, but they might not actually be strong enough for that weight, because when you're hiking out, you're against your own body weight. So if you don't have the ab muscles to keep you upright and keep your back and your posture correct, then your back is going to start giving out. So having really strong core and glutes, which is your bum, is really important. So we'll talk more about what exercises you can do for these muscles in particular, but that is the main thing when it comes to gym work. And laser sailing is full body, so your gym session should be too. Also, with strength work and gym work, it is all about balance. You don't want to have really strong quads and really weak hamstrings. So your quads at the front of your legs, your hamstrings out at the back of your legs. That's kind of makes you more susceptible to injury as well. So I know that, hamstrings, you don't necessarily use them that much when you're sailing laser, but you have to keep them strong as well to keep you want to keep your whole body basically in balance with each other. So balance is another thing when it comes to sailing. So balance should be incorporated into your gym session. You can use a wobble board or do exercises on one leg, or if you have like a foamy board, you can stand on one leg on that. Depends on your level. So if you have somebody at home who can, if you don't have a wobble board, for example, which most people wouldn't, and at the moment gyms aren't open, so you could just stand on one leg, get somebody to throw you a ball, or else throw a ball against a wall yourself and catch it, or else there's other exercises like single leg deadlifts, single leg med ball slams, stuff like that, which challenges your balance and also incorporates strength as well. So you're killing two birds with one stone there. And the amount of repetitions, which is just the amount of times you do an exercise, and the intensity is how heavy you're lifting, that depends on your goals. So we're going to go into that now. So one thing that's really, really common in laser sailing is you're too light for the boat. So this was a story of my life when I was sailing radials. I was always too light. I was always killing myself in the gym and eating lots to try and get heavy enough for the boat. So what you need is a hypertrophy program. Hypertrophy is just a fancy word for building muscle mass. So you want to get bigger. So this type of program is 8 to 12 reps at 65 to 75% of your 1 rep max. So most people don't know their 1 rep max. Your 1 rep max is just how heavy you can lift for 1 rep. So it's, say, for example, a deadlift. It would just be you're doing one rep and it's as heavy as you can go. So I never actually did a 1 rep max test because it's a little bit risky for injury and stuff like that. So you can just go by feel. So at the end, say if you're doing 12 reps of deadlift, it should feel hard to complete all the reps. And you do 3 to 5 sets. So you do your deadlift 3 to 5 times with 1 to 2 minute rest between sets. So with this program comes also the nutrition side of things. If you're trying to gain weight, you need to be getting in that protein after your workout as soon as possible, and carbs as well. So there's a level of organization that comes to this program as well. I know now gyms aren't open, but if you're going to the gym, you'd bring your protein shake with you, or even like a dinner with you, and you could eat it, say outside the gym or whatever. That's really important as well. So any of you guys who are too light for the boat, keep that in mind. And then there's strength. So with the last program, you're basically tearing down your muscle to build it up but it's building it up bigger. With this strength program, you're teaching your muscles to basically recruit more of the muscle so that your muscle works more efficiently. So strength, whatever gym program you're doing, strength is always going to be involved. But say you're heavy enough for the boat, or maybe you're even a little bit too heavy, it's also good for that. For strength training is also promotes fat loss, but if you need to get stronger, but you don't need to put on weight, then this is the program for you. So it'll be 3 to 8 reps. So not a lot of reps at 75 to 85% of 1 rep max. Now you can go higher than 85%, but you need to be very confident in your technique for the lift. So I would never recommend this program for anybody who is not experienced in the gym and who's not confident in their technique. This program is really for somebody who's been lifting for a while and they are confident in their technique. So it's 3 to 5 sets, and you give yourself a good rest between sets. And as I said, if you're new to weightlifting, don't start with this type of training. So that's your strength. Now we are going on to endurance. So as we talked about endurance on the cardio side, there's also endurance in your muscular fitness training. This is, again, very applicable to sailing, as the races are 50-ish minutes long. So it's going to be 12 to 20 reps at less than 60% of your 1 rep max. So I know this magic number, 60% of your 1 rep max, it's not like, it's hard to kind of understand in your head, but you just go by feel. So if you were doing 20 reps, at the end of the 20 reps, it's going to be hard to finish, but at the start, you feel it's pretty light. And we have 2 to 4 sets and not a lot of rest in between sets. So you're kind of trying to mimic that, when you're running, it's this rhythmic contraction of all your muscles and you don't stop and you keep going at a pretty steady state. So you're kind of trying to mimic this. You don't have a lot of rest. So that's the type of training if you feel like your muscles get pretty tired. I would do a mix of endurance and, say, if you are heavy enough for the boat, I would do a mix of endurance and strength training in the gym. This is the best type of training to start if you're new to weightlifting. So if you are not used to the gym, or you're not used to lifting weights, this is the best type of training to start with. And this is also really, really handy to do at home now. If you just have a few kettlebells or a few dumbbells, you don't need heavy weights for this. And 20 reps of anything, most things, is going to be challenging. Like 20 push-ups, that's pretty challenging. You don't need any equipment. So that's that. So more sailing specific, we have hiking, obviously. So doing the hiking bench is like the fastest way nearly to get fast in the wind, because I found that your body really does respond to practicing hiking. So when you practice it often, it remembers it and it gets better at it pretty quickly. But I also found that you decondition really quickly as well. So if you don't hike for a week, you really feel it the next time you go sailing. So this is something that a lot of people wouldn't do. And it's kind of like getting into those 1% that if you have a hiking bench, so if you are interested in getting one, just Google Laser Pro hiking bench and it'll pop up. But it's just one of the best ways to get good at laser sailing. So if you were to do a hiking bench session, like for example, when I was sailing, if it was a light day, we would come in and do hiking bench. We tried to do it nearly every day, like with 1 rest day a week, let's say. So Hold a rope when you're doing a hiking bench, or you can do it on your boat as well. I've often done it with my boat on the trolley, or just on land. It doesn't do any damage to the boat. You just have to sit a bit forward so your stern doesn't tilt down. But hold a rope, because it makes it easier, but it also makes it more sailing specific. So when you're hiking on your laser out on the water, you have the sail and everything and the main sheet to pull against. But when you're on the hiking bench, you've nothing to pull against. So you're kind of just working against yourself, and it's much harder on your abs. So if you want a really good ab workout, yeah, don't use a rope. But to make it more sailing specific and it's harder on the legs, you can do it for longer, hold a rope. And if you're on the hiking bench, just try to have good posture. So hips up and knees relatively straight. Like this guy, he has straight knees, hips are up, shoulders down, and try and get your shoulders back as well. So there is a few other, like within hiking sessions, you could put a med ball on your hips and try and like jump the med ball up with your hips by squeezing your bum. And that's really good for wave technique and stuff like that. You can also say if you have a sled or if you have a long garden, tie a main sheet to a couple of weights and hike and try and bring in the rope as fast as you can. It's kind of like mimicking going around a mark, something like that. So an example for an endurance session on the hiking bench would be a pyramid, which is 1 minute on, 1 minute off, 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off, 3 on. Oh, that's meant to be 1 off, sorry. 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off, 1 on, 1 off. With a 5-second break every 30 seconds. 5-second break every minute / 30 seconds. So that depends on your level. So that 5-second break is literally just like to give your muscles like a little bit of oxygen. Basically, it's like you just sit up and sit back down, because when you're in that static position and you're not moving, when you're not moving, the blood in your muscles and in your vessels don't really get to move around as much. So it's best to kind of come up, give your muscles a little shake, and then go back down. If you're a hiking pro and you can do the 3 minutes on with no break, then kudos to you. But a power session would be like 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. You could do that for 5 minutes, take a little break, go back on 5 minutes. That's 30, those 30 seconds on are like flat hiking. So you're like really giving it your all to have like proper good technique, like you would off the line in 20 knots. This pyramid is more kind of like, you know, you're in the middle of the upwind and you don't have like the bow down, you're not getting rolled or anything, you're just still chucking along. So that is our power session. There's obviously loads of different types of session you could do on the hiking bench. Actually, Marit Baumeister has a few good examples on her Instagram, if any of you are interested. It depends on the person as well. Like if I was this dude, my toes would be right under the hiking strap. I'm obviously a little bit shorter, so it's harder for taller people. If you are taller and you find that your knees are popping up, then I would recommend scooching in a bit, having your ankles under the toe strap and trying to get your knees down to the deck. So you don't, like this guy is pretty good. You don't want a massive gap under your knees to the deck. And there's other things you can do, like if you're doing a hiking endurance session, this is even like going in more into those last 1%, you could do like a mental game, because obviously when you're sailing, you still need to be thinking, looking around, where's the wind? What am I going to do next? Blah, blah, blah. So you could do some sort of mental game like counting down from 107s, or if you're with somebody, you could play like, I don't know, a numbers game or a letters game, something like that. Like type a card that begins with B, something like that. You'll figure it out. I actually used to play Tetris on my phone because it's kind of decision making and it's fast and stuff like that. And it was pretty entertaining, made the time go kind of fast. So a sailing warm up and cool down. So before you go sailing, you could do a little warm up, especially if it's windy and especially if you've had a few niggles, a few little injuries. Warming up is definitely going to be beneficial before you go full into hiking, stuff like that. Crab walk with a band. So crab walk is you're in half squat and you're walking from side to side. You put a band around your knees, which will make it even harder. So that's going to warm up your bum muscles. Squat to press, if you have a little weight or you just have your bag, water bottle, whatever you have, squat down with the weight here and press up like that. And up and down plank, so that's in a plank position, down onto your elbows, back up onto your hand. Pulls with a band, so obviously when you are sailing, you are pulling a lot, you can't push a rope, so you're always pulling a rope. Pulls with a band, so attach a band to anything and do a few pulls like that, warms up your back. And bird dog, we're going to do bird dog in the workout, so we can explain that then. Cool down after sailing will be low intensity cardio, so 30 minutes easy cycling, walking, whatever floats your boat, whichever you want to do. All that is you're getting the blood flowing through your legs. After a hard day on the water, your legs can be full of lactic acid. If you can go for a walk or something, like, it doesn't have to get up your heart rate at all. Literally, it's like just moving so that you get the blood kind of flushing through your legs. You often see like people wearing those big recovery legs, and it's like it compresses your legs. That's doing the exact same thing as a walk, so you can save yourself a few euros without buying that and just going for a walk instead. And I think walks is probably even better for recovery. And stretching and foam rolling, so whatever body part feels tight in particular, you're going to stretch your lower back, hip flexors, glutes, quads, and we'll go through some of those stretches in our own cool down after the workout. So this would be a workout example if you did have weights at home. You do a warm-up. Your warm-up is really just this isn't like set in stone or anything. Warm-up is just you're activating your core, you're waking it up, you're getting your body ready to do a workout. So you're just kind of nearly warning it, like, hey, I'm gonna put you through a little bit of pain right now, but I'm giving you some warning. So bird dog is you're on your hands and knees and you raise your legs and your arms. It's good for your core, your back, your glutes. Lunge to press, if you do have a little weight, do a reverse lunge, press it up. And we'll also do that in the workout. So, and squat to press, same thing, squat like that. You could do that 3 times. You could just you don't even have to use a weight, but you could use a small weight, go through 3 times. In between each circuit, you could do a few stretches. So quad stretch, lower back stretch, glutes, hamstrings, and the likes. So the way that we always did our gym sessions were trisets. So that's basically just means that it's kind of like a circuit. You do your kettlebell swings, you do 8, you go do your goblet squat, 8 of them, chins, and then you go back to the start. So you could do 2 sets or you could do 3 sets. It obviously depends on your level. If I was to give a program to a beginner, I would just start them with a superset, which does 2 exercises and maybe just 2 kind of circuits, and you'd build up from there. You'd be surprised how fast, if you're new to gym, how fast you'd be able to do a full longer workout like this. So your kettlebell swings, if you don't know what they are, they're just with a kettlebell, you swing them between your legs and you bring them up in front of your face, but that's working it's called your posterior chain. So it's basically all the muscles at the back of your body. Goblet squat, you're holding it here and you're squatting down, and chins. So this is a very generic program, but I just wanted to give you some examples. Chins are a really good exercise. They're like full body, well, not really your legs, but your core is quite involved as well. If you can't do full chins, then I would recommend jump up and lower yourself as fast or as slow as you can. Rather than a lot of people use a band to go up and down, but you'll get stronger faster if you jump up and lower yourself down as slow as you can. So you do that 2 or 3 times, depending on your level. Try set number 2. You could have dumbbell row. So dumbbell row is you're pulling weight like this while you're down and you're pulling weight. You can do it one-legged, you can do it 2-legged, you can do 1 arm at a time. I always did it one-legged and with 1 arm. So you do 8 and 8 in each arm. Dumbbell row is important because, as I said, you're always pulling a rope. So you're constantly pulling when you're sailing up the beat, especially if it's going to be a gusty day. You're letting it out, in, you're just like constantly pulling. A lot of sailors have really good grip strength and pulling strength. So that one's important. I have push-ups in here because if you're going to be working your pulling muscles, you want to balance it out with your pecs at the front of your chest. And push-ups are also a really good exercise for core as well. And it's a good indicator of overall strength if you can go do a few good push-ups. It also tells you a lot about your own body. If you need to work on, if you find that your bum sticks up when you do push-ups and your back kind of caves in, you really need to work on your core strength and even glutes and your back. So it's a good indicator for what you need to do in the gym. And one-legged deadlift, you have a little bit of balance in there. That's for your legs. So you're just on one leg with a kettlebell in one hand and you go down and up. If you unsure on any of these exercises, you can YouTube them or get on to me and I can explain them a little bit more. Just in the interest of time, we're going to fly through it a little bit. And tricep number 3, we have deadlift. So in each gym session, you kind of have one main lift. So that might be deadlift one day, it might be squat one day. You wouldn't do, well, I would never really do squat and deadlift on the same day because they're both 2 big lifts. I know I have goblet squat here, but like as your main lift, so you're getting heavier as your sets go on. Deadlift is obviously good for your quads, your glute muscles, your back. It's a really good exercise, but you do have to be careful with technique. Kettlebell snatch, you have to have good technique with this as well, but it's kind of bringing a bit of power into it, and it's your posterior chain as well. And your Swiss ball triple bridge. So that's, you have your feet on a Swiss ball and you bring up into a glute bridge, and then you do hamstring curls on it. So you have one leg on it and you bring your foot towards your bum and back out again. Most people would actually start with 2 legs on the ball, 2 feet on the ball even, and bring in their heel towards your bum. So the reason you have to work your we're after doing a lot of quad exercises here, quad dominant. So you need to balance it out with some hamstring exercises, because balance is key. So my experience, this is just a funny picture from Japan. We were doing a gym session outside, and these Japanese photographers were amazed that we were able to work out in the heat. And I was with Aoife Hopkins, who was blonde and blue-eyed, and obviously a ginger and blue-eyed. They thought that we were aliens pretty much, but here we are. My experience, this is when I was full-time, so I wouldn't expect anybody to be doing training like this. We did 3 gym sessions. Gym sessions would be around an hour, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 or 4 cycles. So I know the cardio I'm talking about is mostly cycles, but that's just the form of cardio that we chose. Personally, I didn't like cycling that much, but I did it for the greater good back then. I wouldn't cycle for fitness now, but I mean, that's what a lot of people do. If you are lucky enough to have a rower at home, I think rowing is just as good. Running is more time efficient even than cycling, people say, and running is just harder on the joints. So if you love running, then that's fair enough, but just be wary of shin splints and kind of pain in your hips or your knees. So just the prevalence of injury in running is pretty high compared to cycling. So you'd have one of those LSD sessions, those easy, long kind of sessions, 1 or 2 interval sessions, and maybe 1 recovery, which is just spinning the legs, walking or cycling, and then 4 or 5 sailing sessions on top of that. So obviously that's a lot of training. So I would never expect anybody to do that if they're in school or working. I just wanted to give you a little look into what I did. So this is just a screenshot. We used Training Peaks. So our trainers would put in what we had on that week. So you can see over here is 22.5 hours of training. On the bike, 10 hours, strength, 4 hours, and custom, that would be sailing, nearly 9 hours. So this type of week is pretty full on, but I was also at the time wearing something called a Whoop, which tracked my sleep and recovery and stuff like that. If you're into that sort of thing, it's pretty cool. If you're interested about learning it, I think it's probably gone up in price now, but it is a pretty cool thing to have if you also learn a lot about your body when you're wearing one for a while. So you can see on Monday, we had a short enough sale, 1.5 hours, and then gym session. Tuesday, we had a tempo bike that is like intervals, but the intervals are longer and less intense. So you might be at like 6 to 7 out of 10 kind of difficulty wise. And then we had 2.5 hours of sailing, a gym session, nearly 3 hours of sailing. We had this long cycle on a Thursday, so that was 4 and a bit hours. I'd say looking at this, I was probably knackered on the Friday because I only sailed for an hour and did a gym session. And on this Saturday, I had 3 hours of that long, slow duration. So very slowly, you can see here, I only did 53.8 kilometers, which is really, really slow. So don't be embarrassed. I was obviously crawling along that day, trying to keep my heart rate low. Mobility and flexibility, keeping those injuries at bay, and another easy cycle LSD. So at the time, I was working on my aerobic fitness. So my physiology, just naturally, I'm quite strong. I was good in the gym, but I really had to work on my cardio pretty much. So what I was doing at this time was I was going cycling first thing in the morning without any food, to try and promote my body to use fat as its main source of energy, because my body used to always revert to using like carbs, which would make me produce lactic acid quicker than some people. So that was the aim there. There's not a whole amount of evidence to say that that works, but it's everybody each to their own. So this is another type of week. So we have more sailing this week. We have nearly 3 hours of sailing, a gym session, same 3 hours sailing, the same kind of bike session, sailing, another bike session, sailing, gym, sailing, active recovery. So that's just spinning the legs. You don't want the heart rate to go up high at all, and your LSD cycle. So that just gives you a inkling into what type of week we would have had every now and again when we were sailing. So that's all the talking for now, I think. Yeah. Is there any questions?
Aisling, that was brilliant. Thanks very much. We do have a few questions here. I'll go to the first one here. If you eat lots of calories, won't you just get fat? Is there a way to gain muscle but not fat?
Yeah, so if you eat a lot of calories and you're not exercising, then you will gain fat. But if you are trying to gain weight and you're doing exercise, you're in the gym, then it will, like you're doing the hypertrophy program, then some of it will go into muscle straight away. If you're bulking, you are going to gain a bit of fat. That's just what's going to happen, but it's not all going to go to fat. If you're working in the gym, it's going to go to muscle as well. So if you're sitting at home watching Netflix and you're eating a lot of calories, then it's going to go to fat, but not all of it is going to go to fat pretty much if you're in the gym doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Great. And would it be fair to say that eating at the right time would make sense? So as you were saying earlier on, if you have a sailing session, if you eat straight away afterwards, does that make a difference? Does it in terms of your
That makes a difference in terms of recovery. So if you get that protein in pretty lively after your gym session or sailing session, like for example, in regattas, I used to have a protein shake on the way in from sailing. Sometimes it was a long sail in or tow in or whatever. I used to have a protein shake then, or a protein bar to get it in. And also it obviously depends on the type of food you're eating. Okay. So if you're eating, I mean, technically it's all about calories in and calories out. So, but if you're trying to gain weight, like muscle mass, you want to be in a calorie surplus. So, but you want to be eating that in the right type of foods. And that's more about fueling your body. So you don't get a lot of fuel from eating all your calories in, like, I don't know, pizza or whatever. Like you do get fuel, but it's not the healthiest way of doing it. If you get me, you won't get that much benefit from it.
So nutrition is important, and eating the correct type of food as well is important. Just I have a question for you, Aisling, in terms of what would your recommendations for someone just starting sailing and they're 13, 14, as against someone who's starting laser sailing and they're 40 or 50? What should they concentrate on? Their abs, their glutes? What's important to keep injury away, and then just to generally just improve their sailing? Is balance important? What advice would you give?
So if you're starting off sailing, I would definitely like your physical activity level, I would definitely be trying to do some muscular fitness, so some kind of gym work. And that doesn't have to be lifting weights. That can be the type of workout we're going to do now, because it's just like building that muscle strength and core and your quads and your glutes. So I would definitely have 2 if not 3 of them sessions a week. And then I would also add in some cardio. So you could do 2 or 3 times a week, a run, whatever you're into. One of them could be a hike at the weekend for your kind of endurance-y one, say an hour and a half hike. And then during the week, you could do, say, 40 minutes of like warm up, 10 minutes walking, slow jogging. And then you could do, say, 3 minutes on, 1 minute off. You could do that a few times, and then 10 minutes slow jog / walk on the way home.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Just there's a couple of more questions come through here. What is calorie surplus? That is, I suppose you better explain that one, Ashley.
Yeah, so a calorie surplus just means you eat more calories than you spend. So everybody spends a certain amount of calories every day. Just sitting here, we're all burning calories just for your body to survive. Like after you eat a meal, you burn calories just digesting that. So we're always, and the more activity you do, the more active you are, you burn more calories. So say for one day, you could burn 2,000 calories. So that in that same day, if you want to be in a calorie surplus, you have to eat more than 2,000 calories. So whatever way you want to eat it in, it could be porridge in the morning, a big dinner, a big lunch as well, and then a snack. Yeah. Okay. I hope that answers your question.
That answers it. Yeah, definitely. Just moving on to hiking now. You did show a picture of a hiking bench there. Laser do sell one, and other ones you can buy in kit form. But Clive Long just lets us know that you can actually build hiking benches for about 20 quid. I have to make a confession. I do have a hiking bench. I think it's hiding behind the shed at the moment. I haven't seen it in about a year. But definitely is a good idea to. Would you say a hiking bench would help your injury prevention, or would that?
Yeah, definitely. If you're doing the right technique, so don't let your shoulders thump forward, don't let your hips kind of sink down. And if you find that you're kind of going into this bad technique, just take more breaks and hike for less time.
Okay.
Or keep your shoulders more upright. You don't have to be flat hiking all the time.
Indeed, yeah. Your pyramid system that you mentioned in your presentation is definitely to build up the muscles. Just Peter Hassett has another question for us, and this is more for, I suppose, more advanced laser sailors or people that have been doing it a bit longer. Can you damage your knees if not straight leg hiking properly? So you were mentioning there trying to keep your knees as close to the deck of the boat as possible. And I was wondering, is there anything we need to keep an eye on with your knees?
As far as I know, you don't get injured from keeping your knees a bit bent. Usually people get sore knees with laser sailing because of the downwind position, because you're really like hunched over, like your knees are really flexed. That's usually how people get sore knees. It's just like a kind of a hard position for your knees to be in. But if you do find your knees are not flat to the deck, now even the pros, like there is a bit of air like between their knees and the deck, but just scoot in a little bit and really focus on tensing your quads, those muscles at the front of your leg, and that should, over time, then you'll be able to scooch out again.
Okay, and then just, I suppose, coming up to the last few questions before we move on to this workout, which we better move on to quickly, is how do you calculate how many calories you burn a day? Is there a quick way of doing that?
So there's something called your basal metabolic rate, and that depends on your age, your weight, your muscle mass, your fat mass. It is different for everyone. You talk about people having a fast metabolism, a slow metabolism. So that's kind of about how many calories you burn a day. But if you actually have a Garmin, they tell you, but it's very hard to calculate exactly. So it depends on your basal metabolic rate, which you can look up online. You can put in your height, weight, and age, and they'll give you like this rough estimate. And then on top of that, it is what work you do in a day. So if you go for an hour walk, you might burn 200 calories. So you put that on top. But it is like a rough estimate. So it depends mostly on your age and weight. But say for athletes in particular, they're going to burn more calories than when they put in their age and their weight, because they have more muscle mass. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn a day, because your muscle needs more energy than fat mass.
And then the last question Antonia is asking is, what was the exercise you mentioned for training up on pulling in the main sheet?
I suppose the most sailing specific one would be if you had a main sheet in your garden, attach it to some weights and pull it in as fast as you can. But every other pulling exercise is also good for that. So you have your dumbbell rows, which is just you hold a dumbbell in your hand and you're down like this and you're pulling up like that. Chins is also a pulling exercise, so you're pulling yourself up like that. Or you can attach a band in front of you around a pole or whatever, and then pull it like that.
Like the bands, I get you. That's brilliant. That's great. Have to say I've taken 3 things from it anyway. Firstly is I have to get myself a watch, a wobble board, and what was it, a whoop?
A whoop, yeah.
A whoop.
If you're really going to become into it, they are cool, to be fair.
They're great, and they just monitor your sleep and your different
Sleep, resting heart rate. There's this thing called heart rate variability, which kind of tells you how stressed you are. Yeah, it is cool.
Cool. That's brilliant. Okay. I think that's all for the moment. Ashlyn, are we going to take a quick break for 2-3 minutes and then come back for the workout? Is that correct?
Yeah, sorry guys, that kind of went on. I didn't realize the time went on so fast, but yeah. Say, what time is it now?
We are just about 33 minutes past 8 o'clock. So are we back in 2-3 minutes, or do you want a bit longer?
Yeah, 2-3 minutes, grand.
Okay. So about, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll see you then. Cheers.
Oh my God, I'm freezing. It hasn't even started yet.
I'm gonna bring this bar light out for you. Wait, am I online?
No, I'm not on yet.
I'm gonna bring this bar light on for you so that it's a bit brighter.
Okay.
Is this on?
I was only meant to talk for like half an hour.
Watched it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Aw. Oh. Can people see me or?
Yeah, there you go.
Here.
Yeah, we can see Aisling.
Okay.
All right. You want to get?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna put on some music and then I'm gonna show you some of the warm-up videos and then we'll do a proper workout. Okay. So I'm gonna show you the bird dog that I was talking about. You just get on your hands and knees and then bring one leg back and one arm forward and up like that. And try and keep your hips level and down and up and down. Good. And we are gonna do 10 more. Hold up top, squeeze your bum up. Good. And squeeze your shoulder up. That's it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm just gonna get the proper workout up. We'll skip some of the. Okay, so the way we're gonna do this is just 30 seconds and we're running through, so there's not going to be a rest until a while into the workout. So you know your own body, take a rest if you want to. I'm going to show some harder versions and some easier versions, but we're going to get going now. It's about 20 minutes, so it's going to be good. So we're starting with high knees in 3, 2, 1. Warm up. Good. Get those knees up. Good. If you have any injuries or anything, you don't have to do the exercises. You know yourself. We're nearly there. We're going to squat and side lift now. So squat down, leg out. Squat down, other leg out. Good. This is working your bum, your quads, and the side of your bum here. Okay? Good stuff. When you're squatting, your legs should be outside your hips and your shoulders. Make sure your knees aren't traveling in front of your toes. So next, we're going side look, walk, jump, and across, and jump, and across. Good. If you have any joint problems or anything like that, don't do the squat jump. Just do across and up, and across and up. Good. A few seconds left. So next, we're going into a squat hold. So just hold your squat like this. See from the side. This might remind you of that pain when you're hiking. Not ideal, but here we are. Good. Not long left. Feel those quads burning. Mine certainly are. We're going into push-ups. So you can do your full push-ups like this, or you can go from your knees and down like this. Make sure your hips are in line with your shoulders and your knees. Good. Only 20 seconds left. So don't let your bum stick up in the air until your bum is tucked. So try and draw your belly button towards your back. Okay. up onto your hands. Down and up. Try not let your hips rotate. And up. Down.
You said you never fall for me.
Good.
So why you calling early morning? At times I'll be cautious to say good.
We're still going.
You know how I feel about you, baby. Why don't you stop?
Okay.
1 minute you're
We're down
cause you say it's enough.
to your rotation. So we're up and down. Up.
And if this
Down.
is mine,
Look up with your hands.
you do it to me all night. Think about you all night. You won't let me let you go.
That's it.
Can't get you out of
10 seconds left. And we're going into plank and jump squat. So from this position, we're in our plank, jump up, jump squat, down, jump squat. Good. You're making me burpees. Nice. 5 seconds. And enter high knees.
I've been trying, but you deny.
Heart rates are up. We're nice and warm. Again, if you have any joint issues, then don't do high knees. Just go like that and keep warm.
You know how I feel about you, baby. Why don't you stop? 1 minute you're leaving it gone 'cause you say it's enough. All that we got,
Okay, good.
all that
A
we
few seconds left.
and if
This time,
control,
it's a side lunge,
me
and this leg is going back into a curtsy lunge.
you won't let
Now to the side.
you go.
Oh, don't lose your balance like me. Down. Oops. And back. Good. Nice. Woo. My balance is very bad. Swapping sides and back. Good. This is good for your leg muscles. All laser sailors know it's quite important. Okay, nearly there. We're going back to our side squat and jump. So we're side squat, jump. Side squat, jump. Good. Your legs are burning. I'm right there with you. Nice. If it gets too sore, you can just do a normal squat. Sorry. We're standing in one leg, we're bringing the other leg out. So it's working this glute muscle by going out. It's working your balance. And it's working quads on this leg. Good. Keep a slight bend in this leg. And we're swapping sides. Slight bend. Up. If you fall, that's okay. Try to control your breathing. So next one, we're on the mat for a close push-up. So I go on my knees, keep your hands close to your ribs, down and up. This is for your triceps. Okay. Tuck that thumb in, bring your belly button towards your back. So we're in tricep dips. with you.
You don't have to like. You could have been
There you are. Okay. Here. In a plank, you're bringing your legs, right elbow, left leg to left elbow. Right leg to right elbow, left leg to left elbow. Good. Drawing that belly button towards your back. Good. Okay, nearly there. Cross our bellies. We're doing Superman. Squeezing your back, raising your chest off the mat. Good. Your rest is coming up soon. Keep going. Keep your chest up. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And back out. Keep your arms high. Don't crunch your neck. Look down at your mat. Good. 10 seconds. We're there. Superman hold. So keep that chest off the ground. And hold. Don't crunch your neck. Nearly there. And we're having a rest after this. Good. 1 minute rest. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, Ashley, we can hear you perfectly. Thanks.
Okay. So we're going into some ab exercises now, so you can get on your back.
I'm ashamed of the lies and the worthless game.
We're going in 5.
And the night
Into crunch.
No other you, no other me,
Like so.
no other us, babe.
Try not to crunch your neck.
And I won't let it slip away. I can see you in my head, I can see you in my bed. I can see you
Good.
doing all those things we used to do instead. All about the 2 a.m. when you knew I was your man.
Nearly there.
The only
Keep
thing I'm
going.
thinking now, I really gotta hold on.
So we're going bicycle crunch, like so. So bring opposite elbow to opposite knee. A harder version, keep your legs up, like so. Good.
Come back home, we can fight. I can take the blame, and I bet make him say,
And
"Feel
change
okay."
to
Give it back.
jackknife. So we keep our legs up and crunch up. This one is hard. Go back to your normal crunch. This is too much. Just crunch up. Not too much distance.
The only thing I'm thinking about, I really gotta hold on.
And we're going for an up hold. So keeping those legs up. Make sure your lower back is flush with the mat. So bringing that pelvis back, your hips back towards your face. If you can't keep your lower back flush to the floor, bring your knees in like so. do one-legged burpees. So on one leg, down, out, up.
Hold on.
If that's too hard, you can always do one-legged burpees, double-leg burpees. Challenging your balance, and we're swapping legs. Good. We're nearly there. Good. We're into high knees. We're really nearly there, so keep going, guys. Don't give up on me now. High knees. Get that heart rate up. We're into an X jump. So we're going down and up, down and up. Try and bring your legs apart at the top of the jump. Good. Okay, we're back into our squat hold. Try and hold that squat, guys. Try and stay down low. We're building strength in our legs. You're going to be thankful when season starts again. So we're onto our back. One leg glute bridge. So start on your right. If that's too hard, go on both legs. You should be feeling in your quads and your glutes. Good stuff. And we're holding. Reminds you of hiking, I'm sure. Reminds me of hiking anyways. Nearly there. Squeeze that bum up. Keep going. Birding. Okay. Swap legs. Going single leg bridge. Driving that hip towards the sky. Good. And we're going into our hold. We're nearly there. Good stuff, guys. And we're doing a glute hold. So both legs. This should nearly feel easier. Okay, good. Keep going. That's it. We're working our hamstrings this time. Walking out. And back in. Out onto your heels and back in. Squeeze your bum up. Keep those hips high.
Back it up and I
The
get
further
it.
you walk out, the harder.
Baby girl, just wanna have fun with it. Baby girl, just wanna have
Okay,
fun with it.
good stuff.
Baby girl, just wanna have fun with it. Baby girl, just wanna have fun with
Okay, well done. We're into Russian twist.
it. Baby girl, just tryna
So
have fun
twisting
with
that upper body, touching each side. If that's too hard, feet on the ground. Okay? Don't forget to breathe. Only 4 exercises left. We're into our plank. We're going up and down. Okay? Try not to let that bum stick up. Keep your bum tucked. Last exercise. Lay down push up. Push up like that. Raise your hands. Squeeze your quads and bump. And push up. You can always go from your knees. Like so. Okay, let's go. Okay. Good job, everyone. We're gonna do a few stretches and then we're done. Well done. So the first one we're gonna do is a glute or a quad stretch. So we're gonna go onto your side like so and squeeze your leg back like that. I'm not sure if you can see me. Onto your side. Bring your knee back. Squeeze your bum. Hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And swap side. Okay, onto our back. This heel against this thigh. We're squeezing this thigh in, and it's a stretch for your glutes. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and swap. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to do our lower back stretch. So bring your knee across your body and your hand this side. Keep that shoulder on the ground and look to that side and press this knee into the floor. This is for your lower back. Okay, and swap. Okay. I'm just conscious of time, so I'm gonna let you all go. But I hope you enjoyed it, And if you have any questions, you can email or find me on Instagram or whatever.
Ashton, that was brilliant. Thanks very much.
No
Thanks for
bother.
the
Hope
work
you
there.
enjoyed
You
it.
did great work there. Listen, you gave us a great insight into the amount of work needed at the top level. It was great to see all your programs for the week and stuff like that. And hopefully everyone can take something away from it, no matter what level of sailing they're at, you know. So thanks very much for that.
Well, I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and just to let you know, everyone, Aisling, you're our laser training officer, so I'm sure you're available if anyone wants to have a chat with you or looking for some advice or that. They just drop an email or.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, feel
Brilliant.
free to do that.
And I just want to answer Sean Doyle. Wanted to see if I was doing the workout session, and just to let Sean know, I was up at 8 o'clock this morning doing my movement and mobility. So I'm on a rest day today, Sean. But thanks very much for your concern. All right. That's brilliant. Thanks again, Aisling.
Okay, no bother. Thanks, guys.
Hopefully we'll see you on Thursday, this coming Thursday. Yeah. We have Jack Fahey coming back, and Jack, along with Toby, is going to do some work on jibes and tacks. So listen, I hope we see you all on Thursday, this Thursday, 7:30. All right, thanks very much. Thanks again, Aisling. All right, see you now.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.